Hey everybody, welcome back to the Top 10, the Countdown podcast. I'm here with my dad, Sweet Al. And before we get into it today, you guys might notice I'm wearing a different jersey than a Tom Brady jersey or a Pats jersey. These damn Buffalo Sabres. I'm sure if you guys follow hockey, you guys saw the JJ Peterka trade. Peterka is 23. We had him signed, I believe, until 2030 at $7.7 million a year. He's averaging almost a point per game. He's getting more ice time. He's getting better. And those damn Sabres trade him away for two fucking bums. One whose contract is up next year anyways. I think the 25-year-old defenseman that we got. Kevin Adams, if you're listening, you should be fucking fired. Ownership should have fired your ass a long time ago. The Pegulas, you need to get someone in there that knows what the hell they're doing. We draft all these guys. We trade them away for nothing. Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart. How many ex-Sabres have won a Stanley Cup in the last fucking 3 years? Last 3-4 years. I just can't stand those damn Sabres. I tell you, I spent a lot of money going to see them. I spent a lot of money over the years. I've been a fan since they had Mike Pekka. That's how I actually became a fan. I went through those great years where we had Ryan Miller, we had Drury, we had Briere, we had Brian Campbell. We had all those guys. And you trade away one of your top point getters for absolutely nothing. I don't know where else. I don't know what else you have to do. As a Sabres fan, we are just going to be in misery. I don't know if we ever see the Sabres win a Stanley Cup. And the famous saying is that I hope when I die that the Buffalo Sabres will be my pallbearers so they can just let me down one last time. Because all I wanted was a fucking Stanley Cup. Just one. I don't even care if we were to win one and then we just went back to sucking forever. Because we suck still anyways. And then we do this shit where at the end of the year we decide to play good. As much as a Lindy Ruff fan as I am, they shouldn't have brought him back. They fired Teddy Nolan, and Don Cherry said it was going to be the curse of Ted Nolan because they got rid of him for no damn reason. And so that's the end of my Buffalo rant. I just can't fucking stand those damn Sabres.
Don Cherry is always right.
I just can't stand those damn Sabres. Watching these guys, we traded for a guy that had 29 points in 82 games. And then we traded for another guy. Where is the thing here? Let me just look. He has 53. The other guy has 53 points in 156 regular season games.
Did Jerry Jones buy the Buffalo Sabres?
Oh my God. And then JJ Peterka has 150 points in 238 games, but he had almost a point per game last year. So he's coming along. He's 23. He's developing. You're trading him for a guy we're not going to have under contract. And then, so the guy that we traded for has 53 points in 156 regular season games, and then we traded for Shane Doan, Doan, the son of former NHL forward Shane Doan. He's got 19 points in 51 games. What? JJ Peterka had back-to-back 27-goal seasons, and this was all you could muster for him? Buffalo lost this trade. I don't even fucking want to watch the season next year now. I don't know what we're doing. We draft all these players, we develop them, and then we just trade them away for nothing, and then they go win Stanley Cups. Sam Reinhart, there's another one. Guy had 50 goals, was the MVP of the Stanley Cup, I believe, last year.
Jack Eichel was one of the top 3 players in the league when they traded him.
And we got nothing for him. I just can't stand those fucking damn Sabres. I'm wearing my Sabres gear today. This might be the last time you guys ever see me wear this shit. Hopefully Kevin Adams is fired before the year starts. Hopefully they sell to another fucking ownership group that can actually get someone in there that can win, because the Pegulas have done nothing. You know, he had his stupid press conference. He said, the sole reason of me buying the Bills and the Sabres is to bring a cup and a Super Bowl into Buffalo. Well, you ain't fucking done neither. At least the Bills have gotten close because they got Josh Allen, one else.
Bills are a lot closer than the Sabres
and the Sabres have gotten fucking worse since he's been there. We're not retaining our talent. We're not getting any new talent when we trade away these guys. Even if you're getting like an old vet, a guy like that would help you maybe make that playoff push. I'm not saying he's got to be like Corey Perry's age, but even if you're getting a guy that's 30, but he's still got 3 or 4 years left on his deal, and you think, okay, we might need the vet to help put us over the top. Fine, but we're not even getting that. We're getting guys that probably aren't even going to be on our fucking team in 2 years. It's
Brad Marchand.
It just reminds me of we're fucking worse than the Leafs. And that pains me to say as a Sabres fan.
True, too.
But we're just fucking... At least Kyle Dubas swung for the fucking hills. He signed those 4 guys and he said, you know what? We're going to ride with those guys and we're going to die with those guys. And if we die with them, then so... At least he took a fucking swing. I don't even know what Kevin Adams is doing in his office. Guy's fucking circle jerking the Sabres fans. I can't stand that guy. I don't know how a guy can be so inept at his fucking job and still have one. I don't get it. We'll move on because I'm going to say a bunch of things. I'll probably get kicked off YouTube if I keep talking about the Sabres and how much they've pissed me off for the last 30 years of my life since I started cheering for them when I was 5 years old. So we'll just leave it at that, and
when I was a boy, I was lucky enough to be able to go see the Boston Bruins in their fall workout camp here in our hometown. And I got to meet like Phil Esposito and Wayne Cashman and Bobby Orr, and the guys were all great with the few hundred people that would be there. So I grew up a Bruins fan, and then by default a Celtics fan because there was no Toronto Raptors at the time. And then when we got American TV, I could watch American football. Well, the Boston Patriots just fell into it all because I was a Boston fan. So I've been pretty lucky, and if you guys that don't know, we're about 2 hours from Boston. We're about 2 hours from Buffalo. We're about 12 hours from Boston, and we try and take as many trips down to Boston for the Patriots as we can. And I got a feel for you with Buffalo because there's really not even an NFL team to compare them to. You might say they're like the Cowboys, but the Cowboys actually win some things.
Oh, we're the fucking Cleveland Browns of the NHL.
Easily. The bottom dwellers.
We're the
perennial bottom dwellers.
The only thing that's different between the Browns and the Sabres is we draft good players. We just fucking give them away after. I guess the Browns are too, because they gave away Baker, and sometimes those guys leave and seem to find success. But we are literally the Cleveland Browns of the NHL. I mean, I thought when Pegula came in, I thought Buffalo finally has an owner. He was a local. He was a local.
He wanted to rebuild Buffalo, not just the sports teams. He wanted to rebuild Buffalo and raise it to some glory.
He's done a good job of all the other stuff that he's done. But as an ownership of the Sabres, we have just been dog shit for so long. I can't go on with these guys anymore. It's just painful to watch. It's painful to be around. I used to go watch the Sabres play 3 or 4 times a year because we could get tickets so cheap because we're only 2.5 hours from Buffalo. I can't even go. I can't even pay anymore.
You wouldn't believe what we have to pay to see the perennial losing Toronto Maple Leafs. You're lucky to get a nosebleed for $300.
Yeah,
and you can go to Buffalo for $40 and get 5 rows up from the ice.
Yeah, and I just can't do it with these fucking Sabres anymore. They just drive me nuts. They got to clean house. They got to get rid of that GM. I mean, their scouts seem to be doing good because the guys that they draft they're good players. They're good players, but Buffalo just can't put it all together.
They just trade them away before they're great players.
It's like you're trading away a 23-year-old that's been ascending every year he's been in the league. Who does that? No other team does that, especially at $7.7 million a year. You're getting almost a point per game. I think he had like 67 or 68 points this year, and he played 77 games. For $7.7 million, that is an absolute steal in the nowadays in the NHL. So, anyways, I just wanted to wear my Sabres thing because these fuckers.
Well, while you got the Sabres on the hot seat, let's put it to Buffalo and let's keep it in Buffalo and go with the Bills into football. Now, you want to put these guys on the hot seat. Let's talk about Sean McDermott. Do you think he's on the hot seat?
I think that Buffalo is so starved for wins right now that they're happy that McDermott's doing it. But I think it was our first podcast. You said it first or second. How long can you win but not win enough? Because if McDermott goes into the playoffs again, whether they're at home or whether they're in KC, because that seems to be the mortal enemy that they can't get over, and you lose again, Josh Allen's going to be 30 next year. Your roster ain't that strong, and you don't really have anyone outside of the Superman back there that anyone is scared of. So I don't know what you got to do. If I was the Bills, I'd be looking to a new coach. The problem is that it's the same thing that I say about Brian Daboll. Good coaches are just so hard to find. But maybe Brian Daboll's available. And Josh Allen took his big leap with Brian Daboll. And maybe Brian Daboll can come in and Brian Daboll can be the guy that resurrects that offense and makes them that. And they can hire a defensive coordinator.
Do you think that the management in Buffalo has done as much for Josh Allen as the management in Cincinnati has done for Joe Burrow?
Not even close. Joe Burrow has... Okay, so I like James Cook. So I'll say maybe you kind of fear James Cook. But Joe Burrow has 2 wide receivers that you fear. He also has a DN that you fear because he's led the league in sacks both years with, 17.5? So for me, they're not even close. Josh Allen has no wide receiver.
I was thinking more on the offensive side.
Josh Allen has nothing on the offense. I don't mind James Cook, but James Cook, I don't think teams fear James Cook as much as they fear T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. And realistically, if it wasn't for Josh Allen, I put it this way. As a Pats fan, it pains me to say this because I fucking hate the Bills. Without Josh Allen there, what did they win? 3? Maybe 4 games?
Yeah.
Maybe. He is like their sole offense. I don't know how you have a guy of his talent. If you even look at look at his biggest rivals. So Lamar, they get Jair Alexander at corner. They get Derrick Henry. They draft Zay Flowers. They get these guys. They have Mark Andrews there already. They try to bring in a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. Sure, he's not the DeAndre Hopkins, but he'll be a good 3 there. KC, they drafted Xavier Worthy in the first round. They've done this. They've done that. They got Travis Kelce. They bring in a fleet of running backs. And Andy Reid is, in my opinion, way above Sean McDermott. So I think that's where the difference really lies. But they drafted Rashee Rice for Mahomes as well too. It's the Josh Allen show there.
It is.
Without Josh Allen,
so how does that put Sean McDermott on the hot seat? If they're not doing for Josh Allen what they're doing for the likes of Joe Burrow.
Coaches get fired.
The likes of Jared Goff.
It's easier to fire a coach than it is to fire a whole
department.
The
likes of whoever's going to be quarterback in Minnesota this year.
It's easier to fire one person than it is. It's easier to fire one person than it is easier to fire an entire organization, essentially. So for me...
Well, the general manager is going to be up there in the owner's office licking his ass long before McDermott is going, we got to get rid of this coach, when really he knows he's only saving his own job by trying to fire McDermott.
Like, he's got to... There's just nothing for them... There's just nothing for Josh Allen there. I feel like the cupboards are so bare.
He does not have a true wide receiver 1. He does not have a good tight end.
Keon Coleman's got it. Maybe if Keon Coleman takes that second-year leap this year. But Kincaid's been a bust. That was a swing and a bust. And maybe he turns around and
does James Cook play?
Well, and that's the other thing too is like ownership, or I should say the GM. Why are you nickel and diming James Cook? Like, Cook was running back 7 in Dynasty last year. The guy scored a lot of touchdowns. And let's be real, if it wasn't for Josh Allen, you have a lot more too.
Right. That you got a quarterback there who gets all those 2, 3, 4 yard runs where most teams have a running back.
Well, you got the vanilla gorilla back there. Or a guy 6'6", like 260. I don't understand what you're doing if you are... I don't... I guess it goes for both. The Sabres and the Bills, man, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. And again, the Bills were just ass lucky to fall back into Josh Allen and then have Daboll kind of really bring him along.
Bring him along, yeah.
Because if you look at the Bills team and you take Josh Allen off that, they might have one of the worst rosters in the NFL.
Let's say you take him out and you put a mid-grade quarter. Let's say you put Trevor Lawrence in there.
They got 3 wins. They might have less wins than the Jags.
And that's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback.
At least the Jags have Brian Thomas Jr. outside.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put Trevor Lawrence, and God, I don't even think Trevor Lawrence.
If you put Brian Thomas Jr. on Buffalo, you'd have a whole different team.
They would be the heavy betting favorites for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Heavy betting favorites for the Super Bowl. So for me, I don't know. Sean McDermott.
I think the only one that's going to put him on the hot seat is the GM, and that's only to save his own ass.
But at what point...
Dangle the coach out there so he can still be GM for a year.
But at what point at what point are you getting to the AFC Championship game, this and that? Again, you know what it reminds me of? Andy Reid in Philly. I know he had the bad year before he got fired. Andy Reid took him to a Super Bowl. Andy Reid took him to NFC Championship games, multiple.
Yeah.
Andy Reid had Donovan McNabb, Terrell Owens. They had a wicked... Brian Westbrook, Brian Dawkins. They had a wicked roster. but he couldn't do it. Then he went to KC, and he did it. So maybe Sean McDermott just needs to go find his KC. I don't think that with what the Bills have now, and again, it's hard to find a good coach. And yes, Sean McDermott is a good coach, but for me, I don't know how you have another heartbreaker in the playoffs and you do nothing to change it. Because for the last 2 years, they've done nothing. What have they done different?
Oh, actually, they've gotten worse. They've let their receivers go. I mean, Diggs was Diggs, but he put yards up, he made catches, he scored touchdowns. He won games for you. So then if you take that and talk about McDermott on the hot seat, let's flip to a team like the Patriots here that have a brand new coaching staff. Not just a head coach, a brand new coaching staff.
They're all the way through.
And, I mean, they were... Okay, guys, they were 4-13 last year, but they were really 3-14 because Buffalo gave them that last game.
Yeah, fuck you, Dread Mayo.
Do you think they've done enough to make the playoffs?
Yes.
They brought in the coach. The coaching staff is not on the hot seat.
No.
Nobody's on the hot seat in New England.
And
everyone's going to get a fair shot here.
And yes, I think they have, and I think that the Pats win that division. I think the Bills, especially without James Cook, I think the Bills are in for a world... Unless Josh Allen just goes nuclear again, which he has the ability to do.
He has the ability to win games.
Oh, yeah. But Drake May... I mean, you guys can say what you want about Mac Jones, and I know there's a lot of Mac Jones hater out there. When he was with Josh McDaniels, a real offensive coordinator, a guy that knew what the hell he was doing on the offensive side of the ball, Mac Jones looked damn good for a rookie.
He was the rookie of the year. He's the offensive rookie of the year.
Oh, was he actually?
He's the offensive rookie of the year, yeah.
So you look at that, and then can Drake May last year, and again, Alex Van Pelt, I don't know if you ever hear this or not, there's a lot of Pats fans that do not blame you. We thought you did great with what you had. You had a bunch of just dog shit, if we're just being honest with you. I wish they had actually kept Alex Van Pelt as a play caller. He really seemed to help Drake May. Drake May really liked him. But, nonetheless, with Josh McDaniels in there, I
don't think he was that good of a playmaker, but he didn't have enough weapons to make good plays.
Okay, well, I mean, but if you look at it, when Drake May came in, everyone was like, "What are they doing? They've got nothing, this and that." I don't know if it was Drake May then, or if it was Alex Van Pelt helping May, but Drake May gave us a real sense of hope as a Pats fan. And I don't know if Alex Van Pelt had something to do with that, where he called some design runs, he called some plays to get some receivers open. I mean, for me, I
don't think those receivers could run routes worth shit.
Well,
I don't think they're in the right spot.
Booty came along at the end of the year. He had a real good second half of the season.
Last game against Buffalo when he was on the field.
The second half of the season, he had a good half. I'm picking the Pats to win this division solely because I think the Bills have just lost so much talent, and is Joey Bosa really the guy that's going to hold you there? But I do think this. I think the Pats win the division. I think the Pats are going to get 12 wins this year. And I think the Bills make the playoffs with 11 wins. I think they're both in the playoffs. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills play the Pats in the playoffs and they beat the Pats because the Pats are such a young team.
Yeah.
However, I think the Pats have done enough to make the playoffs. I like all their moves. We're looking at these two rookies now where we might finally have a number one. I mean, you might have three number ones. If Diggs can even give us 800-900 yards, and you got a guy like Williams or Chisholm that come in there and they take over, Drake May is going to be in a lot better spot than what he was last year. Because look, who was he throwing to last year? Booty's good, but
I mean, Pop Douglas, I think had zero draws, but I'm
over him.
I don't think he can run a route.
I think he's too small. I think he's scared. He doesn't have that Julian Edelman mentality where he goes, "I'll take the fucking hit. I don't care."
But now that he's playing with a better team, he might improve.
But here's the other thing is that where does he fit in? Because if you got Diggs and you got Chisholm and you got Kyle Williams,
Chisholm's he's an undrafted free agent, isn't he?
Oh yeah, but he's taking a lot of reps at.
You hear and see a lot of stuff in that, but keep in mind at this point in the year, they don't need reps from Diggs. They already know they don't need that many reps from Williams. They want to give all these other guys reps because they need to get rid of some of them.
But keep in mind,
those guys are going to get a lot of reps.
Pop Douglas, too, they've gotten rid of a lot of players that were ex-regimes players. Yeah. If Chisholm can come in and give you that production, plus because he's way bigger, he looks faster, and he looks like a guy that can really play this. He reminds me a lot of Edelman, not just because he's white, but just because he's got like a lot of those characteristics. I think Pop is the guy that can be. I think Pop's the odd guy out. Him and maybe Kendrick Bourne.
I think Pop's the guy in the bubble.
See, I would keep. So if I had 4 that you have to keep, right? I'd keep Chisholm so far. I'd keep Kyle Williams. I'd keep Diggs, and I'd keep Booty, because for me, Booty showed that him and May have some
4 receivers. They'll carry a lot more than that.
Oh,
They'll
yeah,
probably carry 6.
6. But those are my top 4. If you're in a four wide receiver,
some of those 6 will be on the practice squad. Don't forget,
or special teams and stuff like that, right? But I think that those are my 4 that I keep. And like I said, I'll answer this. I think the Pats have done enough to take the playoffs. I think the Pats get in to the playoffs, and I think that they win that division. And I'm hoping that they can snag a game or 2 just to kind of show you. Because I think May makes that leap this year with Josh McDaniels. I would have been good if they kept Alex Van Pelt,
too. He's got the players. He's got the
players. We got to see Kyle Williams and Chisholm do it against other teams, obviously. We already know Diggs can, so I'm not worried about Diggs. We also drafted Travion
Henderson.
And he could be a guy that really helps the Patriots kind of.
This could be a great, because Travion Henderson split the backfield in Ohio State last year, national champs, with Quinshon Judkins, who Cleveland Browns drafted, and then also drafted another running back. So these guys now, Ramondre Stevenson, he had a little bit of trouble fumbling last year.
Oh, he's got the fumble.
But he's still a good running back. And if Travion's going to split the field, he's a good guy to split it with. But Travion Henderson, when there's a 70-yard screen that goes to the house, it's going to be Travion Henderson. Well, he has the explosive big play. And even with the Quinshon Judkins that he played with, he was the bulldog. He was a head down, straight ahead guy. And Travion Henderson had they're both pretty close in yards. But Travion Henderson had the big plays.
Well, and the thing I like about that he shared the backfield and still had 1,000 yards, a lot less hits. A lot less damage to that body coming into the NFL than it would be, a guy like, we say Derrick Henry, but the fucking guy's still chugging. But a guy that took a beating in college, right? Anyone not named Derrick Henry, a guy that took a beating in college.
Ashton Genty, the only guy in his team that could play football, and he took a lot of hits.
Yeah, but
Travion Henderson is going to be like I said, the big play, and Drake May will know when. And I say my 2 favorite quarterbacks in the NFL for putting a dime in the guy's hands, 40 and 50 yards downfield while they're still in motion, is Bo Nix and Drake May.
Yeah, you're Bo
just
Nix
the way
lover.
those 2 guys, but that in particular.
Yeah.
Neither one of them are really super mobile. They're not going to give you that Jaden Daniels kind of backfield.
I think you might see May is mobile. I think you might see Josh McDaniels design some runs from this year.
So he might have room to run.
That too.
He didn't have no room to run last year.
I think that about Van Pelt that kind of sucked was that everyone forgets too. Drake May had that concussion early on. He wasn't scared to run. But I think Van Pelt was like, I'm a first-year coordinator. I don't want to get my guy lit up, and then he's all of a sudden he's the next Tua because you just invested a 3rd overall pick on him, so you can't have him going out.
And everybody saw what happened to Tua, and everybody knows that every play in the NFL when you're a quarterback getting hit is a concussion-prone play.
Oh, yeah, especially when you're getting thrown back and like you can't defend yourself. But
And May had pretty much no help back there last year.
No. And so I think that... And then again, I know me and you differ on this, but Will Campbell, he better be a left tackle. He better be a left tackle. He better not be a left guard. Because if you took a guard and you didn't take Tyler Booker, what a fucking waste of a pick. Like I said,
100% confident Will Campbell.
I'm
100% confident.
I'm a Banks guy.
They took him for a reason.
I thought we should have taken Banks, but...
Well, there's... Realistically, there's 3 or 4 top guys in college, and... They pick their things for different reasons and whatever reasons they do.
I think there was 3 tackles, right? There was Armand Membu, there was Calvin Banks, and then there was Will Campbell in this draft. And me personally, I thought Campbell was the worst of the 3. Not saying that he's a bad left tackle, but Calvin Banks had college stats that rivaled some of the best left tackles ever. I don't know where he got... They keep saying, he had that game against, I think it was Ohio State. Ohio State ran around him, that. He let up 1 quarterback pressure.
One play. Was he sick that day?
They kept saying the game. He had a bad. He didn't have a bad game though.
That's one game. Again, you're playing a top team that shows some, but to have one bad game, maybe his grandmother died.
Yeah,
maybe his mom was sick. Maybe he was sick. Maybe he didn't feel good. Maybe something was bugging him that day.
The whole thing about
never put it on one game.
No, the whole thing about Calvin Banks, I can't. The Saints got an absolute steal in Calvin Banks. I love Calvin Banks. I would have loved to see Calvin Banks don a Patriots jersey. I'm hopeful for Will Campbell. I'm gonna root for him obviously because he better protect Drake May because you got a lot invested in a left tackle and a quarterback. I mean, a top 3 and a top 4 pick. That's.
I don't see the Pats winning that division this year. I won't be shocked because I think Buffalo might be going a little downhill. But I think that the year after, the Patriots get on top of that division, and then they're going to stay there for like 3 to 5 years. And if that happens this year, they're still going to stay there for like 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
The playoffs, it depends on how hard it's going to be to make the playoffs over on that side. 10-7 get you in the playoffs. I see them as being 8-9, 9-8. That's kind of where I'm going. And if things motor along a lot faster than they normally do, I can see them doing 10-7. And with Josh McDaniels, with Mike Vrabel,
well, again,
with the what I want to say, the whole environment in that team is just it's got a mental attitude that's everybody's one and one is everybody, like a team should be, and that can help them a lot too.
I think everyone needs to remember too. Mike Vrabel took Ryan Tannehill to an AFC Championship game.
Beat Tom Brady.
He sent Brady packing from the Pats. That was Brady's last game as a Patriot ever was the pick 6 to Logan Ryan against Tennessee in New England. I mean, to be fair, Tom's receivers were shit and all that, but yeah. So I think we see the Pats make the playoffs. You don't. It will be.
Oh, I can see them sneaking into the playoffs, even if they don't win the division. Even if they don't win the division, they can still be playoff bound.
Pats fans are clearly optimistic, as you can tell.
I don't think. I think the Dolphins are in a free fall, and I don't think the Jets have done nearly enough yet to challenge.
Yeah, Miami. I mean, if you guys have seen, you guys kind of know. I had a severe brain injury watching Tua take those. We are Tua. As much as it sucks that he played for Miami, we are Tua lovers in this house because he played for the Tide. And he did so much for Alabama. He made us so successful. Every week that he went out, man, those guys, him, Smitty, all those guys, they were just lighting teams up. But for my sake, obviously someone that suffered a bad one, I hope Tua hangs him up, and I hope that I see Miami finishing last in that division this year. I think Tyreek's gone before the start of the year, and I think Jalen Ramsey is, and they might even look to trade Jalen Waddle because you might as well, because if you're trading Tyreek, and you're trading Jalen, it's a rebuild. It's a rebuild.
You should be getting a bankroll for that, though. I mean, a plethora of draft picks. The problem is they're going to be later round picks.
And Tyreek's already 30, and that dreaded 30-year-old wide receiver market.
Yeah. The guy who was supposed to race, and the 100-meter champ was supposed to race Tyreek, backed out at the last minute.
Yeah.
That's how fast Tyreek is. He's the absolute exception to the rule. The fastest guy in the combine never does any good. You still got to catch a ball. Yeah. And that fucker can catch anything that's thrown near him.
Oh, yeah.
If he's jumping over people
especially
twice his size.
I was going to say, for a guy his size, he's so small.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, we'll transition. I guess kind of same thing, playoffs here. Rodgers said that on the Pat McAfee show, Aaron Rodgers said, this is likely his last year. So he left the door open. So for Aaron Rodgers, what do you think bodes as a successful season? For Rodgers, not for the Steelers, but for Aaron Rodgers, what do you think is a successful season?
I'm a bit of an Aaron Rodgers fan.
Well, he had, if you look at his last 7 games last year we looked at?
Oh, with the Jets.
Yeah, he looked great. I think he came off that Achilles. I think he probably should have been put on the PUP list. He probably should have missed the first 4 weeks last year. But he was going to get out there no matter what. So
he had that miracle cure thing going, which obviously it worked. I mean, it worked. But watching him come along in that and kind of going to the Jets, I mean, whether you like the guy or not, if you're going to get 20 or 30 or 40 million bucks to throw a ball for 17 games, I'll go play for the Cleveland Browns. Yeah. And again, even so, this with Pittsburgh, make a few million more. Pad your career stats. But is he going to be good in Pittsburgh? Kind of remains to be seen. Number one, he is going to have a way better front line than the Jets gave him.
So actually, you know what's crazy? He actually doesn't. The Jets' offensive line last year ranked, I think, on Per Focus Football, they were 11th or 10th, and the Steelers was 17th.
They were 11th or 10th because Rodgers got rid of the ball. That's why.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, no. The Steelers are going to be a bit better. Don't forget that Aaron Rodgers lasted exactly 3 snaps behind that line when he joined.
That was
3 snaps. The 4th snap of the game or the 3rd snap of the game, he went down for the year, or the first game.
I don't know what's going on with the last 3 years. The amount of Achilles injuries. Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA Finals in Game 7 in the first quarter, his pop too. Jason Tatum in the second round, I believe, the Celtics when they were playing
it's the
Pacers.
way they're training to make their legs and their knees and everything stronger. It leaves. Remember, you go back a few years and we saw constant ACL. Non-contact ACL injuries.
And that's what it's like. Aaron
Non-contact. Guys just running down the field.
Rodgers.
One guy, didn't he sack Rodgers?
Oh, yeah, and he jumped up and did
He jumped for joy and he took his ACL.
The lion, yeah. But that's what I mean.
So now they train a bit better. That's why you don't quite see that as much. They train for that ACL.
Yeah, but how do you train an Achilles? Because the Achilles is it's just...
That's it.
Like all those injuries.
There's no way.
Tatum's was non-contact. Halliburton's was non-contact. Rodgers was non-contact. It's it seems like those Achilles, it's just... He took that ball and what did he take? 2 steps and then the leg went out and that was a weird injury because he wasn't coming off.
And it wasn't a guy going down on purpose or anything. He was hurt.
Oh, you've seen it pop. Remember that video replay?
Yeah.
You've seen just
hurt.
the same way you've seen Tatum's go like that and the compression sock. You see Rodgers just kind of like burst.
I think he's completely recovered from that.
I do too. Now I do.
He probably won't want to take as many hits, but that's smart quarterbacking. He's got to be smarter. Does he have the team around him? I love the addition of Caleb Johnson. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it more because he's on my dynasty team.
Yeah.
But I love that addition. It'll give him a little bit more options: run, pass, throw, screenplays, quarterback options. The one thing that Aaron Rodgers won't be is a running quarterback.
Yeah, but don't forget last year he had Breece Hall. Breece Hall is all of that, probably and better than Caleb Johnson. I would take Breece Hall.
The Jets didn't use Breece Hall right at all.
No, I know.
They did not use him right.
You guys can see in our one video, if you follow us on TikTok, you can see we did a quick breakdown of those coaches trying to be too fancy and have 3 number 1 running backs instead of just running the guy that had 1,200, 1,300 yards the 1 year. So
yeah.
But I think Rodgers is in a worse spot. Do you think the Steelers defense is as good as the Jets? Not last year it wasn't. Do you think that the Steelers receivers are nearly as good as what the Jets had last year? They had Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. They got DK in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I'm not a DK
they had
guy.
DK and Pickens, and then they decided they're going to get rid of Pickens.
And I think in a single season, I would still take Devontae Adams over DK Metcalf, and I would for sure take Garrett Wilson over him.
At this point in time, I
probably
still would.
For one season, for sure.
At this point in time, I probably would.
And
DK did everything in Seattle. Devontae Adams has been on a few different teams.
Well, yeah, just the trade after that.
Right? He's been with the Packers. He's been with the Vegas. He's been with the Jets.
Yeah.
And he's still wanted that they pay him very well.
Well, he's with the Rams now, right? So, yeah. For me, I don't think that the only thing that I think that Rodgers has better on this team is coaching. The coaching with Tomlin is going to be way better than anything that the Jets had. So for me, I think...
Well, didn't he have Salah for the first year? Part of that year. Well, I guess he didn't play that year.
And then he ended up getting Salah fired.
Yeah, that's possible.
So for me, I think that I'm going to roll... For me, a successful season for him is just don't let Mike Tomlin go under 500. That's all I care. I don't think that they don't have a good team. And you look at
don't get Mike Tomlin fired. That's a success team.
And if you think about look at his if you look at if you just look at the team, I don't think Aaron Rodgers has nearly as good of a team. I don't think he's got nearly as good of a running back. I don't think he's got nearly as good of wide receivers that he had. I mean, I guess it's the same weather. I don't think the defense is nearly as good, and the AFC is just a gauntlet. It's just a gauntlet. He's going to be playing Burrow twice, Lamar twice, and then Cleveland. Usually Cleveland plays them tough regardless of who Cleveland's quarterback is.
So the Jets defense last year had 404 points against, and the Steelers 347. So the Steelers defense...
But don't forget, the Steelers defense started out super hot those first 6 or 7 weeks, and then they fell apart once Russell came in.
Justin Fields go 4-2, and then they pulled him, and then he should have been 5-1, but then they pulled him, and they put Russell Wilson, who I think he won the first 4, and then bombed after that.
Yeah, sorry guys.
They were 10-7, so for Rodgers to do better than 10-7, I don't think that's possible.
Well, so here's the oh, sorry guys, I'm just trying to bring up the Steelers schedule here. So that's preseason. Okay, so their first game's against the Jets. September 7th.
I'm taking the Steelers. I'm going on the record right now. Aaron Rodgers beats the Jets.
But they play the Seahawks, which I think that they can get out to a 2-0 start. I think. Then they got to play the Pats. Then they got to play the Vikings. Then they got the Browns and the Bengals, which interdivision. Then they got the Packers. I think they lose that one. They got the Colts, which they should beat the Colts because the Colts are just a dumpster fire.
They're that bad.
They got the Chargers. I don't think they beat. They got the Bengals. I don't think they beat.
They finished better than the Bengals, but remember, the Bengals came out with 5 straight wins last year. And I'm betting that is the Bengals team that shows up this year.
Yeah. Then they got the Bears, which I think could be a toss-up.
They could beat that. They could beat the Bears.
They got the Bills. I don't think they beat. Then they got the Ravens. I don't think they beat. Then they got the Dolphins.
That's the interdivision, though. They got the Ravens twice.
Yeah.
For them to win one of those games, it wouldn't surprise me.
Then they got the Dolphins, which I think they should win.
They'll beat.
Then they got the Lions, Browns, Ravens to finish it out. That could be an 0-3 ending for them because if they take the early one from the Browns, I'd bet on the Browns to take the late one from them.
Yeah, you pretty much guess they're going to split.
For those two teams,
that division.
The only chance that they have is that maybe the Ravens are so far ahead of everyone in that division that in the last week.
Didn't the Browns beat the Ravens last year? I mean, something you'd never expect.
Yeah, that division.
The Ravens go 12-5. I think they lost 3 of their games interdivisionally.
I just think it's tough that you see the Steelers beat. I think it's tough that you see the Steelers have 9 wins this year. I don't think their team's that good.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get to 10 that they had last year. 9-8. I could see that being their record, and unless the Bengals stink it up and let Pittsburgh take both games from them, which I don't see happening.
No, me neither. So for me, a successful season is just don't get Mike Tomlin fired. Get him into the playoffs. So, all right, guys, we are going to transition. So we're going to do something kind of fun here, a little different. We are going to build we're going to build around a defense around 3 current players. So it has to be a D-end, a cornerback, a linebacker, and then you're also going to take a head coach and a defensive coordinator. So I'll go first. We'll start with our D-end. I'm going to take Myles Garrett. I think pretty much everyone in the NFL is going to take Myles Garrett.
I'm going to take Myles Garrett.
Yeah, 10 sacks in 7 straight seasons. He's already over 100 sacks. He's got no real help in Cleveland. He's basically been a one-man wrecking ball. They double team him. They chip him. They do everything.
And that's what's even more impressive.
Oh, yeah.
That he does it alone.
Yeah, Myles Garrett is, for me...
And Cleveland knew it, and Cleveland paid him.
Oh, yeah.
Hint to the Cincinnati Bengals and Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, for me, Myles Garrett, I don't even think it's close. I don't even know if there's... The only other D-end I could maybe see, just because of Garrett's age, is maybe you take Micah Parsons. Maybe.
I think the only other one I would look at is because if I do this on offense, I'm probably going with a lot younger guys. But the only other guy I would look at is Aiden Hutchinson because of his age and how he came in the league. But with that injury, that early in his career, missing that many games, I would not build a future team. I would not bet on that to build a future around.
No. Okay, you go next. We'll do cornerbacks.
Well, it's Sauce Gardner. It's the Sauce. He's been number 1 2 years straight. He's still young enough. And again, he's doing it on the Jets. Not a good team.
But a good defense, though, at least. They always have good defense, especially with Salah.
Yeah, they were had 404 points against. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he just does it, and he is just so good that they don't go against him. They just don't go against him.
Yeah.
You know, and wide receivers too love playing against Sauce Gardner because he's always on wide receiver 1. Let's wide receiver 2 get better, and that's the kind of guy you want when you're talking one corner only.
Yeah,
that's the guy for me.
So I'm gonna be a bit of a homer. I'm gonna take Christian Gonzalez from the Pats. Just some stats here. He covered Jamar Chase for a game. Chase had 3 catches for 14 yards, no touchdowns. He covered Marvin Harrison Jr. for 1. He let Marvin have 1 catch for 23 yards. He also had a pick, and he had 2 tackles. He covered Tyreek Hill in a game. Tyreek Hill had 0 catches for 0 yards when Gonzo was on him. He then covered A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown had 2 catches for 31 yards. This was just last year, by the way. That's just like those stats. Most of those stats are from just last year. For me, Gonzo's the number one guy. I mean, I think the Patriots had a bad defense last year, and the one bright spot we had was, man, you knew with Gonzo there, he just reminds me of like a young Ty Law for the Pats, where it's just like, that's the guy where you're just like, I feel that one where he is going to be our guy for years. And I think with Vrabel, he's going to get paid sooner rather than later, which is good because it'll save money down the road when other DBs are going to be making $40 million. He'll be making 30. But yeah, for me, Gonzo's...
He didn't make my list because of the injury.
But...
And missing those games that early in his career. These guys can bounce back from it, but like if you're put on the spot right now to build that team right now,
I still want
here today.
I want Gonzo.
Picking a guy who's been that injured in one injury, but for missing that many times already, isn't something that I would take a risk on.
Give me Gonzo. So, all right, now we have to pick a linebacker, and this is where it gets a little interesting. I'm going to go a little off the board and not a guy that a lot of people probably know. I'm going to take Quay Walker, linebacker out of Green Bay. I'm just going to read you guys some stats here. He had 239 tackles, 9 QB hits, and 3 forced fumbles over his first 2 seasons. That is mind-boggling that you can have that as a linebacker. Like 9 QB hits in 2 years as a linebacker. Like that's 3 forced fumbles and 200. He's averaging 120 tackles over his first 2 years. Now he did have a bit of a down year last year. He only had 107 tackles or 105 tackles, I believe, last year. So 3 years in the NFL, he's over 100 tackles every year. He's only 25. His coaches call him crazy athletic, this and that. They say he does have some on-field problems where he does take some dumb penalties. He overcommits sometimes and he gets burned. But when you look at it, I think no matter who you are, you got to look at Quay as a top. I say he's the top one, but I think top 3 linebacker in the NFL, especially considering his age. And when we're building these teams for 3 to 5 years out, we want some of those younger guys. Obviously, if it was a 1-year thing, that's not who we're going to go with. But for me, Quay Walker just going off like that. But again, it's a guy that you don't hear a lot about. No one thinks, when they think top defensive players in the NFL, no one thinks, Quay Walker. He's very rarely brought up. I feel like the linebacker position has really lost some of its luster over the years because it's all you want a D-end or you want a corner.
The D-ends are getting a lot of attention right now.
Oh, yeah. And
the safeties in your corners.
But look at his name's escaping me. The linebacker that Philly brought in this year. Guy was unreal. And Philly kept him. But for me, I'm gonna go Quay Walker. So for my 3, I got Myles Garrett at D end. I got Gonzo at corner, and then I got Quay Walker at linebacker. Those are just my players.
For me, I want my captain of the defense to be a linebacker. I want my leader of the defense to be a linebacker. I want that guy in the middle looking around everywhere to be the leader of that team. So in that case, I want a little more experience. I want a little more of a proven track record. And it's got to be Fred Warner from the 49ers.
I mean, it's not a bad pick.
4-time All-Pro, and he's been a top 5 linebacker for 5 years straight. That's the kind of guy that I would want leading my defense and showing people and teaching people. And if you've ever watched how sometimes the more experienced guys, and sometimes even rookies, I've seen Gonzalez do it, right as they're setting a play, he'll pull a guy aside and they'll tell him something because he sees something.
Yeah.
He sees that. And, again, if I'm building an offense, I'm looking for some younger guys to build a future around. But the defense, to me, that's the hard part of the game because you have to react. They get to do whatever they want. and you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
If the defense does whatever they want, the offense will just walk all over them. They'll come out and they'll show their thing. So the defense has to be a lot smarter, and that's why I like the linebacker in the middle of the field. I want that to be the leader of my team, and a guy with a record who's been like a top 5 guy 5 years straight. And that's a hard thing to do.
I think he's going to be 29 this year. That's the only thing that scares me a
He
little
gets up
bit.
there, yeah.
But I mean, Fred Warner is one of the all-time great linebackers for me. So you got, who do you got at D end?
Miles.
Miles, and then your
Miles.
corner is
Sauce
and then your linebacker
is Fred Warner.
Okay.
A little shutout linebacker, Edgar Cooper, but again, it's the injury that he missed. But when he came back, he lit it up. He was the top. He didn't come back till week 15, and he was the top per Focus Football linebacker for those games. The only thing is, week 17, you play a weaker team with some second guys, and that you can kind of skew that stat. But again, building around that team, I don't want somebody who was injured for 12 games in the last year.
All right, guys, we are going to move to our head coach now. Now, for head coach, we're going to do it. You can pick either way. If you want to pick an offensive guy, cool. If you want to pick a defensive guy, cool. We will also pick our DC as well. So for head coach, I'll go first. I'm going to take Sean McVay. The age, with what he's done, I like Sean McVay. I mean, I think that most people consider him a top 5 coach. I think most people consider him a top 3. I don't think there's a lot of argument there. So for me, I'm gonna go Sean McVay. I don't think you can go wrong with him. He won a Super Bowl in his 3rd year. He got rid of
Super Bowl.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a lot of head coaches.
He won Super Bowl.
There's a lot of head coaches that haven't won it that people consider all-time greats.
Then did he ever get back? He never got back.
Look at Kyle Shanahan. Everyone think, Kyle Shanahan. He hasn't won one.
He's got there more than
I don't
Sean
care.
McVay has.
I don't care.
He's got there more times.
I'd rather win one and be
He's
one.
got there.
I'd rather be 1-0 than 3. If you want to count his debacle as the Falcons coordinator, he's 0-2 in San Fran. All I know is that when
he gets there, he's more successful overall.
When it comes to it, Sean McVay can do this and shine that ring, and Kyle Shanahan just can't. So I'm gonna roll with Sean McVay as my head coach for the next 3 to 5 years.
And I'm going to go a whole different direction. And I know I talked about experience and everything in that, but I'm going to go, if I'm building that defense and I got to pick a coach, it's Mike Vrabel.
Mikey Vrabes.
You have to be able to go back 20 years to his playing career. He was incredible. Him and Teddy Bruschi were just, I don't think they were nicknamed. If they have the nickname after, I don't know, the Mud Monsters or something. The Super Bowl winners, basically what they were. And Mike Vrabel has a stat from the past that was just incredible. He's actually lined up on offense 10 times. He's been thrown to 10 times, and he has 10 catches for 10 touchdowns.
I actually think it's 12 for 12 for 12 now.
Well, someone told me it was 11. He had one more after he left the Pats. But I just remember that as being a Pats fan, just talking about what he did for the Pats in those first 3 Super Bowls. McVay has never played in a Super Bowl. He's coached. Now, Vrabel's never coached in a Super Bowl. He made it to the AFC Championship.
And that's what I mean.
But I think if I'm going to build around that, and as far as coaches go, Vrabel's still pretty young. I know there's a big push for these 32, 33, 34-year-old coaches, but if you want to give me, and I'm not even talking as a defensive coordinator, I'm talking as a head coach. If I'm going to build a defense and I'm going to put a head coach in, it's going to be Mike Vrabel.
Mikey, I mean, I'm not mad about it. We got Mike Vrabel. So, again, guys, I think if this was for a 1-year thing, my head coach, without a doubt, it would have just been Andy Reid. But we're looking for like 3 to 5 years. So with the age there for Andy Reid, I know some people might get upset when they hear that. For the age with Andy Reid, we just don't think 3 to 5 years out he's still going to be there. Otherwise, Reid, I think, probably would have been both of our picks. But we're looking. This whole thing is for like 3 to 5 years out. So I'm gonna go Sean McVay, and my dad is gonna go Mike
Vrabel.
Mikey Vrabes. Okay. Now for our DC, we might have the same one. We haven't seen this yet. We kept them apart. I'm gonna pick. Actually, you know what? I'll let you go first. Who do you got?
Well, this could go a lot of ways. But I think with everything going, you got to stay in Philly.
You're going to go Vic Fangio, eh?
You got to stay in Philly. What you want to build for the next 3 to 5 years out. So this is our team. We're taking them now. We're going to play this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Look what he did in his last game of football. He smothered.
Yeah.
He absolutely smothered the best quarterback in the league, the best I don't know if I say the best offense, but the best quarterback and the best tight end in the league. He smothered them.
Yeah.
The best coach in the league. He outcoached the best coach in the league.
Oh yeah, he had a scheme against Andy Reid's offense.
And I'm not a Philly fan, and I'm not necessarily a Fangio fan, but if I'm in charge of a team and I want to get the best guy, I think I'm going to stay with Philly, the Super Bowl winners, and what Vic Fangio did.
You're going to go Vic Fangio, okay. I'm going to go, so we're different on that one. I'm going to go with Robert Saleh. He's a guy, I believe he was the defensive coordinator both times San Fran went to the Super Bowl. Definitely wasn't Saleh's fault that they lost that. I blame that more on Kyle Shanahan. Those offenses just didn't put up a lot of points. Robert Saleh's had a top defense every single place that he goes. He was when he was with the Jets. I mean, he just, for me, and the guy seemed, I mean, I'll say, the guy short of Aaron Rodgers seemed to love Robert Saleh. So everywhere he goes, and I got a buddy that's a really big San Francisco fan, and he was saying that all the blogs, all the beat reporters, they were buzzing when Robert Saleh was coming back. Everyone there said, oh, our defense fell off last year, but with Saleh there, we're going to get it back. And so for me, I mean, Vic Fangio is a great pick. You can't go wrong with Vic Fangio with what he just did. I like Saleh, he's a bit younger, so the 3 to 5 I'm not worried about. He's proven that he can have top defenses because, I mean, in San Fran, he had a top defense every single year. It didn't matter who they were playing. Saleh just rotated guys in and found guys. And so for me, I'm going to go Robert Saleh.
If we were talking the year, like you said, and we both would have picked Andy Reid, then I would have picked Saleh because I think he was a good head coach. I do. I think he was good, and I think he'll be a head coach again.
Yeah, the Jets just didn't give him much.
For him to be under a guy like Andy Reid, who he knows only got a year, well, you assume to me anyways, he only got a year or two left. He would be a great guy to have in that system to come up and do it.
See, and that's funny.
But just for the straight up, what Fangio did this year.
See, and if I was going for a single year, I'd have taken Fangio.
For a single year.
But for the 3 to 5 years out, I'm going to take. I think Saleh's probably going to be in San Fran for 2 years, unless the defense just lights the world on fire. Then maybe a team comes along and says, "Hey, yeah, like we want you to come back or whatever." But I think Saleh's going to be there for 2 years. I think you're going to see Saleh's going to. I think Robert Saleh saves Kyle Shanahan's job because Kyle Shanahan's now going to get some reprieve where his defense is actually doing something. Because remember, Kyle Shanahan, he handpicked that defensive coordinator. Oh, he sucks, and then he fired him. Well, now Saleh's back. So now he's going to say, okay, well, give us a year or two to mesh and gel that team.
This is how they keep their own jobs.
Oh, yeah.
String their own job security out for a while.
But for me, I think that Robert Saleh is going to bring tough and grit back to that San Fran D that since he's left, it's kind of lacked. San Fran's D, well, they have good players. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. San Fran, they got good players, but they haven't had a good defense. Like, you have Bosa, you have Warner, you got some of those guys, but you haven't really had an elite, like, solid defense since Saleh's left. So for me, I'm going to roll with Robert Saleh. I like your pick as well, too. Like I said, I don't think you can go wrong, so we'll do that. So we're just going to do a quick rundown here, guys. So I took Myles Garrett at D-end. I took Christian Gonzalez at cornerback. I took Quay Walker at linebacker. My head coach was Sean McVay, and my DC was Robert Saleh.
Yeah, and for linebacker, I went with Fred Warner of the 49ers. Saleh's going to be coaching. My corner is the Sauce Gardner from the Jets. I still think he's the best in the league. And, the end. Yeah, my end was Myles Garrett, just because he has been the best for 4 years. Head coach for Rabel and D coordinator, I'm going with Vic Fangio. That could have went a few ways with both the coach and on the D coordinator. Just thinking it out for 3 to 5. That's how I try and do it.
Yeah.
That's assuming. You got to remember, Stu's kind of saying, does Robert Saleh even last as a defensive coordinator to get yanked as a head coach? Vic Fangio could be in the same boat. Somebody could say, we want him.
His age, though, I worry. I think that with Vic, this is the thing. So I think Philly, and I think the Patriots have hit kind of sweet spots. No one's going to take Josh McDaniels from the Patriots anymore.
No.
Because every time he's been a head coach, he sucked. Then he backed out at Indy, and then he did this and he did. So he's there. Vic Fangio's age might actually help Philly retain him, where people go, well, he's old. Unless you get a team that's like on the cusp of it and they think, well, if we get that D coordinator, the guy that can really pressure it, then maybe they go out and get him. But for me, I think Philly and New England have kind of hit this sweet spot where it's like you have a really good offensive coordinator in New England that no one's probably going to want, and you got a great defensive coordinator in Philly. Because of his age, I don't know how many people are going to be like, oh, yeah, we want to give him a 5-year deal, which that's what most head coaches get. Yeah. So for me, I think both those guys are in kind of sweet spots. I mean, it kind of sucks for those guys, but for the teams and for the fans, yippee for us. All right, guys, we have come to the end. Today, we are going to drop another top 10. This time, it's going to be top 10 offenses currently in the NFL that we think for this year. So it has nothing to do with last year. It has nothing to do with the year before. What we think are going to be the top 10 offenses from this year. I'll start it out. At number 10, we got the Packers. They had I think they averaged 27.1 points per game last year. Jordan Love needs to stay healthy. That is a very big concern of mine, is that Jordan Love's health has not been great. They drafted Matthew Golden, I believe, in round 1. That was the first 10th
time. 10th or 12th overall. He was a high pick.
No, because they made the playoffs. So he was anyways, but he was
their first pick.
Yeah, he was a late round. He was a first round pick. So hopefully he's wide receiver 1, because realistically, Christian Watson, he's got a fucking Swiss cheese hamstring. That dude's hammies are always done. Now he's got his ACL. Romeo Doubs has the concussions. They don't really have anyone. So I think the Packers can be a top 10 offense again. They were last year. I think they were 8th or 7th or something like that. So I got the Packers coming in at number 10.
Number 9, the Atlanta Falcons. You're going to see some Michael Penix in there. Should help the offense. I'm going to say that going in, it's a big question mark, but I think he does good. I think he succeeds. He's got Drake London. He's got Kyle Pitts to throw to. He's got Bijan in the backfield to run and to throw to.
Yeah.
He's got all the weapons. The Falcons last year were 389 points for. That goes up.
That's got to jump this year.
That goes up.
Yeah.
And they did get some help on defense during the draft. Their defensive numbers are going to come down. Penix should have the ball in his hands more often. He should move the sticks and keep the ball in their hands more often. And I think that they've just got a very strong, young, whole offense that's going to excel. Well, it'll be a curve. It'll be a curve to do it, but they're going to excel.
They averaged 22.9 points a game last year, and that was with Kirk Cousins there. There were some real stinker games there. And so, they should be jumping. If they don't jump, then they really fucked up on that pass.
I'll bet you too that Kyle Pitts takes a huge leap this year.
Well, he better.
He kind of stunk it up a little last year for a bit, but
yeah.
Again, that was Kirk Cousins.
All right, guys, coming in at number 8, I got the Broncos. So they averaged 25 points per game last year. I think they finally, I believe they got a little more cap reprieve this year, also from the Russell Wilson thing. Mm-hmm. Bo Nix has got, as you guys know, I'm a big worrier of that sophomore slump for quarterbacks. That's all quarterbacks, no matter where. But Bo Nix, I think, can take a leap this year. I think you're going to see Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Penix, and Bo Nix all take leaps this year.
Yeah.
I don't think any of those guys have a sophomore slump. So they averaged 25 a game last year. I think now, a second year in Sean Payton's system, I can see Bo Nix taking that leap into the upper echelon. of quarterbacks.
Marvin Mims and Courtland Sutton really came on at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Because of Bo Nix in the line and because of Sean Payton's coaching.
Yes.
Sean's got a guy that he loves here that they drafted named Pat Bryant. Watch out for Pat Bryant, too. So the Broncos, they got nowhere to go but up. Number 7, still the Eagles. Still the Eagles. At 27.2 points per game last year. And it'll be higher this year. I'll bet it'll be higher this year.
You think so?
I really do. The Eagles are hurting on defense. They've lost more defensive players. I think offensively, they thought they were going to lose that 1-2 combo on wide receiver one way or the other, but they're both there.
Yeah, it sounded like A.J. Brown was supposed to get traded. As a Pats fan, that hurt that we didn't get him.
But, Philly knows it's a successful thing. And Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
He may not do. I don't think it's... The only reason I don't think he can do as good as he did last year is because...
That was such a...
You got nowhere to go. There's no room left to go up. He hit the ceiling,
Yeah.
He can have a year that's 3/4 as good as last year and probably still be the number 1 running back in the league. I mean, that's how good he was last year, right?
Yeah.
So I think the Eagles still, and they got a not too bad schedule against some teams there. I think that they will at least stay in their 7th spot.
Oh. Coming in at number 6, I got the Bills. They dropped. They were, I believe, the 2nd-ranked team last year. They averaged almost 31. I believe it was like 30.9 points per game. As you guys heard earlier in the podcast, I'm not a big believer in Buffalo's roster building that they got. And again, short of Josh Allen, they just got nothing. And is James Cook going to be there? I don't know. Josh Allen, because they got Josh Allen, I got to keep him in the top 10. But I can definitely see the Bills taking a bit of a step back this year on the offensive side of the ball and realistically the defensive side of the ball. So I got the Bills coming in at number 6, and if they fell farther, I would not be shocked either.
Well, they scored the 2nd most points last year, 525. I think it was they scored.
Yeah, they were just behind. Well, they averaged
Detroit.
They basically averaged 31. Yeah. I think it was a game.
Yeah,
so
30.9. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I got the Bills coming in at 6.
And 6 is actually a step back for him, and quite frankly, I see Buffalo taking a step back.
Yes.
So I think it's terrible to say you're taking a step back, but you're still going to be 6th in the league. So do that, use that, get another player or two, help Josh Allen, and be number 1. But right now we'll put him at 6. And number 5, the up and coming beautiful Washington Commanders. I'm in love with Jaden Daniels. This guy is just watching, and I don't watch a lot of full games of the Redskins, but I watch a lot of the highlight films and the 12 and 18-minute versions of the games. And it's Jaden Daniels. They were 28.5 per games last year, points per game. They added Debo, which I still think is awesome. I mean, we'll see if he flops or whatever, but yeah. I think Debo just helps that whole team. They've still got the running backs. They've still got the other wide receivers, McLaurin and that. So they should be coming in nicely at 5.
Yeah, I think hopefully Debo can give them something. They got to get Terry McLaurin worked out just to see, because Scary Terry is not participating in things right now. So hopefully they get that figured out. Coming in at number 4, the Ravens. They averaged 30.5 points last year. I believe they still have Todd Monken. They got Henry. They got Lamar. I don't think I got to say anything else. That's an easy top 5 for me.
Oh, it'll be again
top 5. It'll be again the top 5 this year. So
yeah, that's a no-brainer.
So they were coming in at number 4 for me.
That has got to be the Super Bowl team this year.
They have to. And Derrick Henry's at that age where I know we keep saying, well, he's Derrick Henry. He could hit that cliff as a running back. So
and Lamar, I mean, he just does this. And even last year's not a huge step up. 41 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. They just got to turn it into some playoff victories and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Number 3, the Bengals. I mean, I don't care about their record. I don't care about them not making the playoffs or losing playoff games. Their offense is incredible.
Yeah.
The only thing that loses them games is defense. Sliding them in at number 3, the only reason they're number 3 and not higher is because the defense doesn't give them back the ball enough, or they'd be even higher.
Yeah.
And again, they ended, and I harp on this all the time. They ended the last year with a 5-game winning streak. They really got their shit together.
Yeah.
And they're going to be, again, that's easily a top 3 offense in the league, and we've got them at number 3.
All right. Coming in at number 2, we got the Bucks. So they averaged 29.5 points last year. I believe they were somewhere around 5th last year for total offense.
Yeah.
Evans is going to be healthy this year. Hopefully he doesn't miss his 3 games. I know people are worried about Godwin, but they drafted
Emeka Ibuka.
Yeah, Emeka Ibuka there in the first round.
He was the second or third guy off the list.
Second or third running or wide receiver off there. Baker's had a resurgence in Tampa. They've got I'm blanking on his name, the running back there.
Bucky Irving that came along.
They got Bucky that came out of nowhere.
He didn't really come along to the second half of the season.
Yeah,
so he's going to help them a lot.
So you got Bucky, you got Mike, you got Emeka Ibuka, you got Baker, you got a good offensive line, and you got one of a top 10 coach in the NFL. The only thing that scares me a little bit is Liam Cohen's gone.
That's their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, their OC. But we still got them coming in at number 2 because just the talent there is undeniable. Yeah,
they're going to be. And they're again, they scored over 500 points last year. And you can expect that to go higher this year.
Yeah.
And number 1, love them or hate them, they did it. They are number 1, and they're probably going to be number 1 again this year. It's Detroit Lions. They were just 564 points scored. They were a plus 222 in plus minus, by far the best. And there's nothing that has changed to make that be any different.
Yeah, I worry about the Ben Johnson loss a little bit. But, I mean, they averaged 33.2 points a game. The next closest was the Bills at like basically 3 or 2.5 points full less a game. They kept Jamison Williams, which there was rumors that they were going to trade J-Mo. They still got Amon-Ra. They still got Gibbs. That's
a hard core to keep together. That's an expensive core to keep together.
Well, it's going to be.
It's going to be even more.
When they come up.
It's going to be more.
Losing that center this late in the offseason, I think
they expected it.
It sounds like it, but still, because I think they've been playing at, is it Tate Rutledge, I think? They've been playing at center. Anyways, but it'll be a feat. I think the Lions can do it, but it'll be a feat if they stay number 1, losing Ben Johnson and doing that. So,
well, they still got their head coach.
They still got Campbell.
And, I remember when he took over the play calling, when they were like 0-6 or something, and they won like 8 straight a few years back.
Oh, yeah, and then, yeah.
So, I'm not worried. I'm not too worried because that head coach Campbell is very capable of taking over the play calling.
Well, I also think, too, Campbell is capable of finding good coordinators.
Yeah.
Both his coordinators got poached this year, right?
And let's be honest.
So
people want to go to Detroit.
Well,
anybody who's going to get a coordinator's job.
That sounds weird to say out loud now.
I know. It's not something that we'd say.
No.
And again, we live 2 hours from Detroit, so we've been able to see Detroit games forever and ever. And it's a cheap ticket. You can actually go down to Detroit and get a good ticket for a decent price.
Not now you can't buy it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's changed.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they won like one playoff game in 50 years or something. But this is a place. I mean, if you're a coordinator looking for that coordinator's job still, or you're an upcoming guy for a coordinator, everybody wants to go to Detroit.
Yeah. All right, guys, we have come to the end. So on Monday, we're going to be doing a podcast with a good friend and an ex-coworker of mine, Jeremiah. He is a huge Pats fan. So you guys are going to have to listen to the 3 of us. So feel free to tune in. It's probably going to be a little bit of a longer podcast. We have all Patriots topics next week. We are also doing a top 10 Patriots of all time. And then the 3 of us are also going to do a building your offense. You have to build an offense for the next 3 to 5 years. So kind of similar to what we did with the defense today. There's going to be 3 of us, though. We're going to do it with around a quarterback, wide receiver, running back, head coach, and offensive coordinator. So it has to be a current offensive coordinator. It can't be a guy like Ben Johnson where he was last year because he's now a head coach. So we've got that coming up for you next week. Feel free to give us a like and follow. And thanks for listening today, guys.